So we are here in Salina, Tennessee, in Clay County with the amazing Miss Beverly here, and this is her original log home.
Yes.
Built in the 1800s.
About 1830, approximately 1830.
And this has been in your family ever since.
Ever since. It will be, actually, it's almost a 200-year-old farm. We're going to get it made a century farm soon. But the beauty of the farm is all of the wood in the farm and all in the house was actually taken off, cut here and honed here and fixed to build the building, to build the house for my great-great-grandmother when she got married.
This is a beautiful, amazing story, and Miss Beverly's been kind enough to agree to show us her beautiful 1800s log home. And so you guys come on, we're going to take a tour of this beautiful piece of history right here in Clay County, Tennessee.
Okay. As we first walk into the house, over the years, things had to be changed, of course, because to make it more convenient. This would have been a dog run, what they would call a dog run. It would have been open from the front door all the way through to the back. And then it would have been two entirely separate, almost like two separate houses, because the staircase was not here at that time. It would have been closed in. So if we step into the living room, we'll go there first. In here, you can see we have a limestone fireplace. And the interesting part about this room is originally there was a staircase that came down right here. It would have been an open staircase, more like a ladder than an actual staircase. And there'll be one you'll see in a moment on the other side because the two parts of the house were kept separate, if that makes sense. Okay. Then if we step, and this is an old piano, probably from the, I would say, late 1800s, that my great-great-great-aunt gave to my mom to help her learn to play the piano. Okay. In this room, this was added on. It was added on probably in the early 1900s. I would say probably maybe around 1905. And it was added on, but the furniture in here was the original furniture. It started its life here in this house, and so I brought it back. I'd saved it and maintained it over the years. There's a sideboard, the table, and then we also have the china cabinet. And then right in this corner, we have an old ice box. This was one of the first ice boxes in Clay County, we believe. The most interesting part about this is everybody brags today about getting ice water out of their refrigerator. Well, my great-grandparents got ice water out of the refrigerator back in the early 1900s because this actually, they put the water in a little cylinder back here. The ice was in here. And of course, the water was against the ice and made it very cold. And then you had a little spigot that you just turn right there, and you had ice water right out of your refrigerator. This was made by Icicles, one of the first ice boxes. And then this side's where they kept all of their food.
Okay. I'm just amazed. I'm over here just like a kid in a candy store. This is just awesome.
We'll walk over to the bedroom. This is an older picture. That the frame I know it belonged to my great-grandmother. It's a very, very old frame. What's interesting about this, that is actually a piece of cloth.
Really?
It was stretched. I didn't realize that until it became mine, and I started looking at it to see what. But it's actually a piece of cloth that's been stretched on a board, and then they put it in this beautiful frame.
Wow. I've never seen anything so preserved and such history and like this wealth of knowledge that Miss Beverly has. I'm just in awe right now.
Now this is one of the bedrooms. In here, the most interesting part in here is this brass bed was actually my great-grandparents' first bed when they got married and had a home. That was their first bed. Right now it's a little tarnished. It's beautiful when it's polished. It actually has what they call ribbons through the brass. You can't see them as well because it just is really, really shiny in certain places all the way across. Wow. Now the other part here, and again we have another limestone fireplace. And then over here, this was added on. It was just this was a little room. When I was growing up, it's actually a little bedroom. They stuck the kids in. They say you got to go sleep in the little room. But I want to show you the bathroom. Although, of course, as you know, the bathroom was added on. And we have the original cloth tub.
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting about this. I was getting kind of redoing this. I was so proud of the tub. And my son says, "Mom, that's lead paint on that tub." I said, "No, it's not." He said, "Yes, it is, Mom." I'm sending you a kit. You test it. So naturally, he sent me the kit. I tested it. It was lead, and so we had it sandblasted and then recovered. Who would have thought? I told him, I said, I took a lot of baths in that tub, and I'm still walking. So, and we just redid this room like this so it would kind of blend in with the house. We're going upstairs. Now, keep in mind, the staircase was added. I know it was here in 1927. So it was added, so that the bedrooms upstairs could be used by the family that had the whole house at the time. And now here, we've taken it back to the logs so that everyone could appreciate the logs as they really were. And if you touch them, they're just as smooth. Nothing's been done to them. They're just that way. And then you'll see, if you look this way, you can see where they did what they called honing. And you can kind of see where it went little ridges. I think that's interesting. And then this is one of the bedrooms. And it's been taken back to the logs. The brass beds have been around my family forever. So anyway, so we still have them. And then we'll step to the other bedroom. You can see they're very big. In fact, most of these rooms, when I was growing up, had at least 2 double beds in them, so they're huge. You can see how beautiful the logs were and how long they were. You have to consider the fact that the length of this room is 1 log. It's not, doesn't have little sections. It's 1 solid log. Okay? We'll leave this on so they can come upstairs. The floors, they're very interesting. The floors are poplar. And if you look here, in this room you can see it best. If you look at the floor, it was what they call green poplar. It's streaked. And when I first had these done, it looked really green. And you wouldn't have thought it would still be green looking, but it was. And so, but they're beautiful. And of course, they're the ceiling of downstairs. And this is really an interesting piece. This piece was in my great-great-grandma's house, and it belonged to the people who built this house. It was theirs, and then my great-grandparents had it in another house here in town, and then I brought it back here. So I think things need to go home to where they live. Of course, the greatest thing about out here is the swing, the porch swing. That is the most incredible place to sit and watch the world go by. And then we have a huge barn, which is over to your right. And you can't really see it for the trees from here, but we also have a spring house down there that is actually still functional. And then over here, we had the smokehouse. The smokehouse was close to the house so that you could go out and get a ham or cut a slice of ham off and just bring it back in. But this was a smokehouse. Okay, this is the barn that was built for the farm. It's the only barn that's ever been here. We know that it's extremely old. We do not know exactly when it was built, but it's one of the bigger barns. And you'll see when we go over and look inside, it has stalls. And for many, many years, my grandfather would raise our cow that we used for beef. And he would actually raise it in a stall and feed it only grain. And then it was the most incredible meat you've ever had. We'll step this way. And of course, he had cows and he had pigs. He did not like goats. He did not have goats, but he had cows and pigs and chickens. We had lots of chickens. Of course, the loft in the barn was what they used to store hay. And you'll see we probably won't go up there, but it is a place for storing hay. And there's an opening on the back side so you can see where they were laying the hay down. This is so amazing to me if you look at the way this is built and the way the slanted lumber and how it's done. If you took most of the nails out of this barn, they would be square because they never had nails back then. But it's just incredible if you look at the workmanship that went into it. And then this is the center part. This is where he would bring his cows in usually and put them in one of the stables to milk them to get natural milk. And then there's another side over here just the same. And then the spring house is right around here. The spring house, as you can see, is made out of stone. And then inside it still has water. And it's where they used to keep the milk. And anything they needed to keep cold, they would put it in the spring house, and then they would send some of the kids down to get it. You had to come across the barnyard, run around the cows, and go over there to get it. I hope that y'all have enjoyed our farm, this tour of the house, the tour of the barn, and seeing the springing house. This is history that we're trying to preserve. It's so important to us, and I feel like it's so important to America because we need to look at our heritage and we need to learn from our heritage. And this and my family have just endured, had for since almost 200 years. It will be a century farm. Probably we'll do a century farm information this year, but we hope you've enjoyed it. It's something that we love to share. Thank you.